Rathotaya Krishnasya Chirasya Padayo Patan Aste Mahitvam Pragdrashtam Smritva Smritva Puna Puna Shanai Rathotaya Vimrajya Lochane Mukundam Udviksha Vinamra Kandara Kritanjali Prashrayavan Samahita Save Paturgad Gadayali Lati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Rising and falling again and again at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna for a long time, Lord Brahma remembered over and over the Lord's greatness he had just seen. Then rising very gradually and wiping his two eyes, Lord Brahma looked up at Mukunda. Lord Brahma, his head bent low, his mind concentrated and his body trembling, very humbly began with faltering words to offer praises to Lord Krishna. Purport: as stated in one prayer, Shrutim apare smritimitare bharatam anye bhajantu bhavita ahamihanandam vande yasya linde param brahma. Let others study the Vedas, Smriti and Mahabharat, fearing material existences. But I shall worship Nanda Maharaj, in whose courtyard is crawling the Supreme Brahman. Nanda Maharaj is so great that the Para-Brahman is crawling in his yard, and therefore I shall worship him. Brahma was falling down in ecstasy because of the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who exactly resembled a human child. Brahma was naturally astonished. Therefore, with a faltering voice, he offered prayers, understanding that here was the Supreme Person. Brahma, being very joyful, began to shed tears, and he washed the lotus feet of Krishna with his tears. Repeatedly, he fell and rose as he recalled the wonderful activities of the Lord. After repeating obeisances for a long time, Brahma stood up and smeared his hands over his eyes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that the word Lochane indicates that with his two hands he wiped the two eyes in each of his four faces. Seeing the Lord before him, Brahma began to offer prayers with great humility, respect, and attention. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Reading the translation again. Rising and falling again and again at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna for a long time, Lord Brahma remembered over and over the Lord's greatness he had just seen. Then rising very gradually and wiping his two eyes, Lord Brahma looked up at Mukunda. Lord Brahma, his head bent low, his mind concentrated, and his body trembling, very humbly began with faltering words to offer praises to Lord Krishna. So here we are in the last two verses of this chapter. Brahma stealing the boys and calves, as Champakala Mataji was saying. This is the last chapter that Srila Prabhupada translated, and this is the last verse that we are reading today, 64. So just reading the purport again. Brahma, being very joyful, began to shed tears, and he washed the lotus feet of Krishna with his tears. Repeatedly he fell and rose as he recalled the wonderful activities of the Lord. After repeating obeisances for a long time, Brahma stood up and smeared his hands over his eyes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that the word Lochane indicates that was his two hands. He wiped the two eyes on each of his four faces. Seeing the Lord before him, Brahma began to offer prayers with great humility, respect, and attention. So thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 10th canto, 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Stealing of the Boys and Calves by Lord Brahma. So here, Srila Prabhupada is sharing his wisdom on these verses, especially on his last days with us. So here we see how Lord Brahma, he is finally realizing the position of Krishna. So right in the first beginning verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, the supreme absolute truth, Param Satya, is described. So what is Param Satya in that description? Of course, from him everything begins. Janmadi Asyataha is indicated. So one of the aspects that is mentioned about the supreme absolute truth is he is never bewildered. But he can bewilder even great souls like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, the demigods, and sages and saintly people. So they can be even bewildered. However, Krishna can never be bewildered. That is the position of the supreme absolute truth. So in the supreme absolute, we all know the supreme absolute truth manifests in three forms. The non-dual absolute truth manifests in three forms as Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. So the word Bhagavan means one who has six opulences. So the six opulences we all know is like wealth, beauty, strength, fame, knowledge, and renunciation. So these six opulences can only be possessed by the Supreme Lord. It actually is the Bhagavan aspect who possesses these six qualities. It is said, what is the most intrinsic quality of the form of the Lord? Because why we are speaking about the form of the Lord is the same form of the Lord bewildered Lord Brahma, and now he is realizing the same form of the Lord as the Supreme Lord. He saw the same form earlier and he is seeing now, but he was earlier confusing that form to be material, or at least he wasn't sure if this is the Supreme Lord. There was this kind of a vague idea. He may not have thought it is just a material form. Still, he was confused. Is this the Supreme Lord? He had that doubt. And now he is very clear. And that is why he is offering his obeisances. We will see the next verse, the 14th chapter, first verse he speaks is, he glorifies the Lord. That's where he begins. Naumidyate abravapushe taditambaraya gunjavatamsa paripichala sanmukaya vanyashraje kavalavetra vishanavenum lakshmashriye mridupade pashupangajaya. This is how he glorifies the form. That's how the prayers begin. And then the second prayer is also very beautiful. He clearly says, Asyapi deva vapusho madanugrahasya swa ichhamayasya natubhutamayasya koapi. He is saying, this form of you is not made up of material things, but it is made up of, it is Sachidananda Vigraha. And by your own mercy, you have appeared here. Asyapi Deva Vapusho, your form, Asyapi Deva Vapusho, Mad Anugrahasya, because of your mercy, you have appeared here. So here he is realizing the truth of the form of the Supreme Lord in this section. So the intrinsic quality of the form of the Lord, because there are 6 qualities that the Bhagavan possesses. But what is the intrinsic quality of the form of the Lord? Anyone would like to take a guess? Out of the 6 qualities, yeah, there are 6 qualities that Bhagavan possesses. But out of that 6, what is the intrinsic quality of the form of the Lord? Yes. So beauty is the intrinsic quality of the form of the Lord. So any form could be strong. Any form could be famous. Any form could be like strong. It can possess these qualities, especially the strength and what you call fame. However, if the form is not beautiful, so then it does not satisfy really. So the intrinsic quality of a form is its beauty, and Krishna's intrinsic quality, the Bhagavan's intrinsic quality as his form, because now that's what here Brahmaji is realizing, it is his beauty. So that's what he will also glorify. Now midyate abra pushe, your form is like a cloud, like your hue is like a cloud. So that's how he glorifies. He does not say how strong he is. Brahmaji does not start saying, okay, your form is so strong, you could, like, it's not like the conception of the Atlas carrying the whole world or anything like that. So here the conception of Supreme Lord that Brahmaji says is his beauty first. He's not saying how strong you are, how famous you are, how knowledgeable you are, how renounced you are. No, he glorifies his beauty. And then he glorifies how out of his mercy he has revealed this form. So this is the mood of Brahmaji, that he first glorifies the beauty of the Lord. And the other qualities that is intrinsic to the form is strength and fame. And one thing I'm missing, wealth. So this is, wealth is possessed by the form, strength is possessed by the form, and fame. And it is said the fame spreads, has the attributes of knowledge and renunciation, and that spreads actually. So that is what is the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. So it is said the Brahman effulgence of the Lord is spreading everywhere. And however, the form of the Lord intrinsically has the beauty aspect. Even though the Brahman is also the aspect of the absolute truth coming, like how the sun gives out the sun's rays. Not all the attributes of the supreme sun is there in the sun rays. Is there heat is there, light is there, but the intensity is less. So similarly here in the Brahman aspect, the beauty of the personal form of the Lord is not the same way present in the Brahman aspect of the Lord. Mother Gail is here. She had asked a question the other day about how, if the Paramatma is there, is Bhagavan is also there. If the Brahman aspect is realized, Bhagavan aspect is also realized. How is it different? Is Bhagavan present there, and because of our realization, he manifests as Brahman, he manifests as Paramatma, or how do we understand? I'm not sure if this is the question that she asked. I saw Mother Gail coming in.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes, I'm here.
Did I paraphrase the question rightly?
I was trying to figure that out. Yeah, the question was something like, since the 3 features of God are inseparable because they are 3 features of one entity, right? Then that should mean, therefore, that that having Paramatma in our heart also means having Bhagavan in our heart. And it also means having the Brahman feature, the Brahmajyoti feature in our heart simultaneously. But at the same time, we do say that, at our stage, there is only Paramatma feature. So I was wondering why that is said, since the 3 features are inseparable.
Okay, thank you. So since all the 3 features of the absolute truth are inseparable, why is that in the heart only we say Paramatma is situated?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So the idea is I only can take shelter of Jiva Goswami to answer this question, because in one word this could be answered, Achintya Beda Beda, because the absolute truth is manifesting in 3 different features. They are different from one each other, at the same time they are non-different also. for functional aspect, like when the Lord's bodily effulgence spreads, it is from his body. So in one sense, it is non-different from him. At the same time, it is also a separate thing. Both are simultaneously possible. That is why it is called as achintya. It is not possible to explain. We only have to take shelter of the scriptures and take the nature of the absolute truth as inconceivably separate as well as oneness. Both are there. So in terms of the Paramatma, in general, the Lord Krishna is not directly involved with the material manifestation. He only delegates it to Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Shirodakshai Vishnu. So Shirodakshai Vishnu's duty is to expand as Paramatma and take care of the material manifestation, keep it together, run it, and take it back when it is time. However, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, when a devotee is completely imbued with pure devotional service, Prema, in his heart, Shyamasundar himself reveals. Because there is oneness as well as difference. Because there is oneness, he in their hearts can be seen as Shyamasundar. At the same time, in general, it is Paramatma who's maintaining, who's expanding within the cosmic universes.
You gave your cheesecake analogy the other day.
Yeah, with the Adipurush Prabhu was saying about the cheesecake analogy that we discussed the other day, how with certain aspects, like with the nose, you can only experience some aspect of the cheesecake. So similarly, through a certain sadhana like yoga or jnana sadhana, we can only realize Brahman, we can only realize Paramatma. For Bhagavan realization, Bhakti Yoga is required. With Bhakti Yoga, then we will be able to realize the presence of the Bhagavan aspect in the heart. However, there is also, means that is why it is oneness and difference. Both are possible. In general, it is the Paramatma manifestation in the material world. But if a devotee is on the level of Prema Anjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, Krishna can manifest in their hearts. So did I answer the question or beat around the bush?
I think I'm seeing a little bit of bush. Because
what exactly?
Yeah, because we already established that it is the Paramatma that we see.
Yes.
But the what I was trying to address was, why don't we also see Bhagavan, since his Bhagavan feature is not separate from the Paramatma and Brahmajyoti features?
It is it is not only not separate, but it is also separate. That's what I'm trying to emphasize again. Bhagavan has his individual existence independent of Paramatma and Brahman also. When Krishna is playing in Vrindavan Dham, Vrajdham, he is not concerned about the material manifestation, keeping it up. He is involved in his own pastime. So the Bhagavan aspect is in one sense independent also, even though these are all emanating from him.
But don't we always understand from the Shastra that these are, is non-dual consciousness? That's like the first verse, I think, of
it is non-dual, but manifests in three features. That is why it is achintya, bheda, abheda. The philosophy.
Yeah, three inseparable features. You know, like you cannot separate sunshine from sun globe.
Come on. When the sunshine hits me here, is it not separate from the sun?
Not exactly. I mean, to say yes, the sun globe does not enter our residence.
So that it is separate at the same time. It is separately. The sun is not entering. The sunshine is entering. Right. In one sense, it is separate from the sun also. Right. It is not in the same way that would burn.
One way I think I've understood this conundrum is that yes, the three features are inseparable, but we realize the different features according to our consciousness. I think that's what helps me a bit,
Yes.
That
also we covered.
Excuse me?
That point also we covered. If Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanana, if your consciousness is on that level, then Krishna will personally manifest in the heart. If it is through Dhyana Yoga Sadhana, then you will realize as Brahman. If it is Yoga Sadhana, then you will realize as Paramatma. But with Bhakti Sadhana, one can realize as Krishna. That is why there is oneness. In that aspect, the oneness manifests.
Yeah, I think what really kind of addresses it for me is that, you know, or reconciles this separateness issue is that it's not that they are, the three features are ever like literally separate. It's according to what Krishna reveals to you in your heart. He is always fully present. It's not like he's only partially present. He's always fully present, but he's not always fully manifest. I feel like that reconciles it for me.
If it satisfies you, I take it. However, the philosophy is again inconceivably oneness and difference. They both exist simultaneously, and that is why it is inconceivable. And we cannot figure it out. Achintya ek haluve bhava natam tarkena yojayat. By argument, we cannot understand what is inconceivable. We only have to take shelter of the scriptures and humbly accept, yes, I don't get it, but it is simultaneously one, it is simultaneously different, and that is why it is Achintya.
Okay, well,
I would leave
that. Yeah, okay, yeah, no, not to prolong it, but yes, I mean, for me, the difference, you know, within the confines of my mundane intelligence is that, you know, yes, you know, sunshine is different from sun globe, but they are always inseparable. Therefore, they're also one. Anyway, continue. Thank you so much.
I think we both are agreeing. It is just that, like, I'm saying the technical term of Achintya Bheda, you are explaining it through the example. So I think we're on the same page.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu, for helping.
You really helped me. I didn't even prepare for the class, so I could. So here, like, we were speaking about the form of the Lord, like how the form of the Lord is being realized by Brahma. So that form is always being glorified. Yasyananam makara kundala charu karna. So that the Supreme Lord, as Krishna, his beauty is very much mentioned. It is said when I'm just seeing Trinavarta picture here. You can see how beautiful Krishna is here. And when Trinavarta, after Trinavarta goes, Mother Yashoda is like, they are all so distraught that they are not able to find Krishna. They are not able to see Krishna. So, and the Acharyas say, Mother Yashoda had him on the lap. Just before a few minutes, she had him on the lap and she personally fed him. And then he became heavy, so he left there. And she was not very far. She could see where Krishna is from where she was. But suddenly Krishna's form was not there before her eyes. So the Acharyas say how Trinavarta represents the Rajogun and Tamogun. That because that smoke is covering. We know in the Bhagavad Gita also the consciousness is mentioned, like one is like the fire covered by the smoke, the child in the womb, those kind of things are given. So similarly, the smoke, the fire covered by the smoke is like Rajogun, the child in the womb is like Tamogun, like we're almost like impossible for anything to penetrate. Some experience of the heat could be perceived when the smoke is covering the fire, but when the child is inside, no, nothing could be perceived by the child of what is outside. So the Acharyas say how when Tamogun and Rajogun cover our eyes, not Krishna, when the Tamogun and Rajogun covers our eyes, then we, even though Krishna is manifest so close, one cannot see. So the Vrajvasis, they could not see Krishna suddenly because the Raja means Raja in Sanskrit also means dust particles. So, but the Acharyas take that Raja as Rajogun also. For conditioned souls, when their eyes are covered by Rajogun and Tamogun, even though Krishna is very close, that form, one cannot perceive that form, one cannot experience Krishna's supremacy. Like how Brahmaji at one point, he could not understand who is the Supreme Lord playing as a small boy, and suddenly he is realizing it. So earlier he was infected by the three modes. Now by the mercy of Krishna, he has understood that. So once the modes are lifted and the and the power is given by the Yogamaya to see Krishna in his original aspect, then he is able to recognize, oh, here is the Supreme Lord. So as long as our eyes are covered by Rajogun and Tamagun, like how Trinavarta covered all the Vrajavasis from seeing Krishna, we won't be able to see Krishna even though he is present. We chant the holy name, we take darshan of the deities, we discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. However, because of the influence of the Rajogun and Tamogun, we are not able to experience the ecstasy that Brahmaji is experiencing. So that humility, that attention, so that is not fully present because then there is Rajogun and Tamogun. So it is stopping us from accessing the mercy of Krishna fully. So here Brahmaji is relieved from it. So our prayers and endeavor both should be towards how do we please Krishna, come to this transcendental platform for acting for the pleasure of Krishna, so that we can be naturally as a byproduct relieved from the three modes. The goal is not to be relieved from the three modes. The goal is to be able to see Krishna and really experience Krishna through all our senses and give pleasure to him through our senses. That is the goal. But that is not possible as long as the infection of the three modes is there. So that is why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mamshiyo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Brahma, whose body is made up of intelligence, cannot figure out who is standing before me with his intelligence. Means what to speak of, we only have intelligence as part of our makeup, but his whole makeup is actually his intelligence. However, he could not realize that who is standing before him. So only through Bhakti Yoga, only when the mercy of the Yogamaya was there, because now he has become Mahatma Anastu Mam Partha Daivim Prakriti Mashrita. He has been granted the shelter of the Yogamaya, revealed by Yogamaya, he is able to realize. So that this is the same position for us also. As long as we are covered by the three modes and are struggling to take shelter, okay, if we are struggling at it is good, but if we are not taking shelter of the internal energy, then it is impossible for anyone to realize the actual position of Krishna. Janma karma chame divyam means it is transcendental. The janma and karma, the form of the Lord, it is divyam. But only one who understands will be able to cross over the the material world. However, to realize that, one has to be relieved from the three modes. So one has to take shelter of the spiritual master. Because how do we take shelter of the internal energy when we are covered by the three modes? So the only way out for the conditioned soul is to take shelter of the instructions of the spiritual master. If the disciple holds on to the feet of the spiritual master, in the meaning, literally speaking, takes shelter of the instructions of the spiritual master. So that is his the lotus feet of the supreme spiritual master represents the instructions of the spiritual master. If the disciple holds on to it strongly, that means he is taking shelter of the internal energy. So that is the only way we can take shelter of the internal energy. We chant, we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, we worship the deities because it is being instructed by our spiritual master. And that is why we keep up to it, whether we have taste or not. By that, taking shelter of the spiritual master's instructions sincerely and strictly, we are taking shelter of the internal energy. Through that shelter, gradually the three modes influence goes away and we'll be able to experience the transcendental presence of Krishna, which is always there. However, for us to realize it, we also need to qualify ourselves, purify ourselves. So with these few words, Adi Pushpa wants to share few thoughts, so I'm just turning it to him.
Maybe it's not so much that I want to share, but I feel like Krishna's nudging me to say something. One beautiful point here is that Brahma, he's being chastised, he's being corrected, he's being humbled. Mm-hmm. But the way he takes it, sometimes if we're chastised, we resist it. We're dejected or, we rebel against the correction. But in this case, his response is that seeing that Krishna loves him and Krishna is helping to show himself, seeing that Krishna loves him, Brahma begins to shed tears and offer obeisances, and he's grateful to be corrected. That's a very beautiful example for us to follow, because certainly there are corrections coming, and we can be, unhappy about being corrected, or we can welcome it, because Krishna loves us.
So this verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, where Krishna is saying, even if my devotee engages in an abominable activity, still he is considered as a sadhu. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim gachati. He says he will become a person, sir, very soon. So Krishna is giving the benefit of doubt. They're saying, okay, even if this person is unable to control his senses, but if he is situated in the truth of taking shelter of Krishna firmly, then he is considered as a sadhu. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. He will become, he is already a dharmatma. Yeah. So if he is taking shelter of bhajate ma ananyabhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. So yeah, here Brahma is, maybe he faltered, but that position is there as a sadhu. So as soon as when Krishna mercifully reveals the truth, then he has become humble. That is the effect, that there is mercy. Either I see Mother Gail's hands raised. Can you share?
I just had a question. Just had a question about this point that we don't aspire to have the modes lifted, from our vision. We aspire to serve Krishna and to love Krishna, and as a result of that desire, the modes are lifted, right? In Lord Brahma's case, he seems to have suddenly gone from being in illusion, or at least not being able to understand who Krishna was properly, to suddenly being able to understand perfectly. So what did he do to inspire Krishna to lift the modes? What happened?
In his position, he has a special privilege. So we don't have that privilege, and it's not partiality or discrimination. He has the ability to go to Vrindavan and personally interact with in the pastime. So that is his position. So his guru is directly Lord Krishna. His knowledge is received from Krishna, actually. So Krishna is the direct spiritual master of Brahmaji. So he has that direct chastisement also from Krishna.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see how in this pastime is illustrating your point that it is by the lifting of the modes. In other words, is there anything that we can point to illustrate why Lord Brahma went from being in illusion to no longer being in illusion? How was that transition? How did that transition happen?
Krishna means it, as I was explaining, like how through Yogamaya potency, he was shown the various, because he had this doubt. Is this the form of the Supreme Lord? Like that confusion was there for him. So I was revealing it step by step. So he got bewildered because it was only revealing certain aspects and covering certain aspects initially. So it just revealed the voice as Vishnu, and then they all became like again back to normal, and then they all disappeared. Only Krishna was seen in his form, looking around again how he saw him a year before. So in this way, even though all of it was true and present at the same time, it was revealing, like choosing and revealing certain aspects, and gradually he realized, I made a mess. So that realization was gradually given to him by the Yogamaya potency. It was Krishna's will that he could be immediately revealed, but for him to go through that bewilderment is necessary for him to realize his position. So he was put in bewilderment consciously by Krishna. So that is what step-by-step revelation happens when the whole thing, he puts dots together at the end. When he sees Krishna as a small boy roaming around like 1 year before, he realizes I
Messed up.
I mean, so it was Krishna means it was because of the dots, he connects the dots and realizes, oh Krishna, what did I do? Here is the Supreme Lord. He could realize, like reveal in steps, and I can completely be bewildered. And he gets put in his place by this whole revelation.
Yeah, it was like a jigsaw puzzle type thing.
So like gradually working one by, and then when the final piece comes in, you feel like, oh, this is what was going on. So that's the kind of thing happening with him.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
So Adipurush.
Good question, Gail, as always. We need to remember that Brahma is a devotee, right? He has service to Krishna. And Prabhupada said, even if you once in your life say, Hare Krishna, Lord, I'm yours, then Krishna, who's acting in everyone's life, he'll take you through whatever you have to go through in order to get to the final stage. But because he's a devotee, because he's engaged in devotional service, and he said, how can I serve you, Lord? Then Krishna works, in everyone's life. So I'd like to say that, Lord, I'm yours. Whatever mistakes I have, I offer myself to you with full confidence that Krishna will help me to somehow to become like a real devotee like Gaura Sharan Prabhu.
Anybody else online wants to share something?
Hare Krishna, great class, Gaura Sharan Prabhu. I have a question. Sometimes we have this mentality of Krishna will only believe that you're real if you show me a miracle, like you did to Brahma. You showed him some trick, you tricked him, you bewildered him, you showed him a miracle, and then all of a sudden he's believing in you. So I will only believe in you if you show me a miracle. How is that a healthy mentality? Is that what happened to Brahma? And how are miracles available to us, if they are, so we can have faith in Krishna?
We are free to request Krishna to intervene, but we have to be sure anytime Krishna intervenes, it's always initially a mess. So we should be ready for the purification when Krishna really takes, because Prabhupada started 6 businesses and all the 6 of them failed. He started preaching in India and the preaching failed. Any direction he wanted to proceed was like met with disaster, not just failure. Sometimes it was a complete disaster. The final investment that he made, in those days, he made 40,000 rupees. It's unimaginable in today's currency value. That much money he invested and the whole business was like gone. And one after another, he tried many things and it did not really, he was completely like kind of Krishna. That's why Prabhupada very confidently and very fondly remembers that verse, Yasyaham Anugrihnami. Like if Krishna personally intervenes and he wants something in our lives, then he will remove all the unnecessary things. So the attachments, when it is taken away, then it is going to be painful. So if like here, Brahmaji went through a painful situation, but he humbled himself and he realized, so as long as we can be like that, like get ourselves ready for anything can happen to us and it's all good. It is said Krishna is a perfect tailor. He stitches the perfect coat of purification for each and every one of his devotees. So one person may have everything going externally successful in his life and get purified through that. Another devotee may have everything failing in his life and can be purified through that. So externally what happens is like different, but we should have the faith that actually miracle is already happening in our lives. Krishna is already working. It's just that we are so like incapable of realizing that Krishna is taking control of, has already taken control of our lives and is actually acting. And whether things are happening or not happening, they are all happening because of Krishna's desire. And the moment we realize that and embrace it, okay, this is not working out, it's Krishna's desire. Let me happen. Krishna will, what comes from Krishna's hands will be much better than what if I create with my own hands. So with Bali Maharaj, he gave everything and purified him. With Sudama, with Bali Maharaj, he took away everything and then he granted him the status of Mahajan. With Sudama, he gave everything and humbled him and kept him in the devotional service. So Krishna's reciprocation with each devotee, the miracle with one could be taking away things, with miracle for one could be giving things. So however, we should understand everything that happens in the life of a devotee is actually Krishna miracle.
Nice. Thank you. Very satisfying answer, Gaura Prabhu. Thank you. I think Krishna is working in our life through you.
The same for all of us.
Miraculous class.
We're all the instruments of grace for each other and pure instruments of purification for each other. So that's also grace. So as long as we can remember it, we'll be able to tolerate and
Are
have
we,
together.
are we out of time? Or if somebody else has a question, I know I've hogged the floor. I had another question. Are we out of time?
It's 7:59. They're gonna blow.
So you can have maybe
Or if, I don't know if somebody else had to ask something too.
No, we can go after the class is over. We can do takeaway time. You can stick around for that, and then Krishna Daya or Jeffrey Eckler will.
No, but Gaura Sharan, this question is for Gaura Sharan.
You can go ahead. If not now, I'll answer later.
Okay, yes. My question was, I didn't understand why you said that beauty was like more intrinsic than the other 5 opulences. I didn't get that part.
Okay. It is written in Jaiva Dharma by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He writes how beauty is the intrinsic quality. Everything is intrinsic, but the most primary opulence of Krishna out of the 6 opulences, because renunciation, knowledge, or cannot be the intrinsic nature of a form. A form.
You mean when you say most intrinsic, you mean the most attractive?
I would say the most natural aspect of a form.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is this visual? You're saying
the beauty.
Uh-huh.
Quick addition to that. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So when we view Krishna with love, that love comes back. That's the beauty. That's the attraction. This reciprocation of love. It's not what Krishna looks like, which is obviously very, very unlimitedly beautiful, but it's how Krishna loves us. That's the most attractive thing. And that's the most beautiful thing, is love. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But he seemed to be saying that the physical beauty, he seemed to be focusing on the physical beauty more than the love, even though I do agree with you.
Krishna is in the 4 eyes of Bhima Prabhu.
In the 4 eye. Very quickly, remember, if someone can be physically beautiful but be a hideous person.
No, I know, but
totally
in this context, he seemed to be focusing on the physical aspect of beauty rather than, because of its connection to form.
Well, remember, Krishna's form and himself are the same, and also he doesn't have a physical beauty. Krishna is beauty. Do you understand? He is beauty. All beauty comes from Krishna.
Yes, but you could say that about the other opulences too. Krishna is power. Krishna is wealth. But he's saying that the beauty aspect is the most intrinsic aspect. And that's what I needed clarification. Why does that get the superlative qualification?
Because remember, beauty comes from love. If somebody doesn't love you, how beautiful are they? If they don't have any love, then where's the beauty? Person can have perfect form, symmetry, everything.
I know, but we're talking about Krishna here, and that's why it's valid to talk about the physical aspect of beauty.
Okay. Darshan time. We'll debate.
Hey, let's look at the deities and find out for ourselves. Hare Krishna.
You're on mute, Prabhu.
Oh, sorry about that. That's so great class, Gaura Prabhu gave, and Gail, great questions, great discussion. We would like to invite devotees to contribute to class. Maybe Krishna Prabhu would like to share something. Even maybe turn his camera on so we can see his beauty.
I was very inspired by the comment shared by Adipurush. This class is wonderful. The beauty aspect and the questions are also wonderful. But how Brahmaji took that particular correction in a very positive way. So that is really great. And that's very a big lesson for everybody, any practitioner. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I liked it too. Somehow Adipurusha Prabhu is in this repentant mood today. He's repenting in his humility.
Yeah,
I liked it too. Thank you. And Krishna Prabhu, why is Krishna's beauty highlighted so much?
Yes.
Why is it standing out of all the 6 opulences that he has?
I was just contemplating what he said, just gently paraphrasing. So there are 6 opulences. Let us just consider those. So out of those 6, beauty, strength, and wealth. These three are first category, and later he said fame, and through fame, knowledge and renunciation. So when we are approaching Krishna, so when we are seeing Krishna, so renunciation is something when he acts, and then knowledge is something when he speaks, or those are the later stages. So his fame results, from fame comes the knowledge and renunciation, like those are spreading. But the primary thing what attracts when we see, Krishna, is his threefold bending form, his kundalas, and then his curly hair, and then how, so that is beauty. And then comes, okay, he's strong. If we know Krishna is strong, how? When he lifts Govardhan hill, or when he's unable to lift the slippers of Nanda Maharaj. So that comes later, strength. And then wealth also, okay, is, wealth is like Lakshmis are serving him, so that is second. The primary thing is beauty. Okay, Lord is having, of course, Bhima Prabhu is telling another aspect of it, like his interactions are also beautiful. That is true. But Lord primary is all attractive through all his opulences, and primarily he is all attractive through his beauty. So when the animals are, Jarikanda, they are getting attracted, the birds, and then everybody, they are attracted. So they are attracted to the form of the Lord, the beauty of the Lord. So the remaining aspects come, of course, later. So, but beauty is this is what is just, sorry, maybe I may be wrong, but Gaura, yeah.
Thank you, Krishna Prabhu. Very nice answer. Okay, Rich Bhakti, we see your camera is on. Would you like to say something? What's that castle?
That castle is actually Stephen King's house, which he doesn't live in.
Cool.
Yeah. So, gosh, there's a lot, and I'm already failing miserably at maintaining my austerity of speech. So I'll try to keep it short. But I once wrote in class as I was simultaneously observing Adi Purusha's head and the sunrise. I once wrote, we human beings have an unusual trait that sometimes we fail to appreciate what serves us most reliably, be it the rising of the sun or the falling of the rain, or Adi Purusha singing to us every morning.
Yeah, his head is rising like the sun in the morning. That's Bhima's Prabhu's favorite feature about Adi Purusha Prabhu's morning bhajans. His head.
And
I want to draw a face on his bald head so we can see his face. I'll draw a face up there.
And anyhow, I just going back to today's verse. Brahma, he rises again and again, over and over. He remembers, and it's can be hard to distinguish between beta and abeta, or presence versus manifestation. Brahma himself will soon say in his prayers that there are those who say they know everything about Krishna. I'm not so concerned with that. I'll only say that the Lord's opulences are beyond my mind, body, and words. So I would just say, whether you've got 4 heads or just 4 eyes like Bhima, just bow that head, and know, Ananda Bihari, I got bad news for you. You may not see any miracles, but you are one. You're a miracle to me, and I just eternally grateful to all of you devotees for being there, rising with me every day, trying to remember every day. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Rich Bhakti. Thanks for encouraging us. Bhima Prabhu, would you like to share?
What? You're bothering me, man. I'm trying to get some work done. Let somebody else speak. I'm
All right.
still in that self-induced coma.
Okay, you're in coma. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Would anyone else like to contribute to class? You're already contributing by showing up regularly. So we appreciate that. We're grateful for that. That's a miracle for us to have the Sangha to tune in every day. That's how wonderful Krishna is, that he's given us this room to check in every day. It gives us structure. It's funny. It's miraculous. Yeah. I'm really grateful for all of you, dear devotees. Thank you for being who you are and doing what you're doing. I don't know what Bhima Prabhu is doing. Are you sewing? What is it? Oh, you're writing. You're writing poetry. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, dear devotees. I love you dearly. Thank you so much. Come again tomorrow. How wonderful is Krishna? How wonderful is Srila Prabhupada? This was the final purport by Srila Prabhupada today. So we scheduled Gaura Sharan for that. We needed a special speaker today. So tomorrow, Sharmila, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Come again tomorrow. Srimad Bhagavatam goes on. Hare Krishna.